Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. And today I am going to talk about a topic that you folks seem to very much enjoy, and I do too, and that is some recent partner label releases. These are from September of 2023 for the Vinegar Syndrome partners. I'm going to start with the one I'm most excited about, and that is The Hard Part Begins. This is a film by Paul Lynch, who would go on to do Prom Night, among other things. This one just absolutely fascinates me. Of course, this is from Canadian International Pictures, one of my favorite, partner labels, and just one of my favorite labels in general. Highly recommended that you go check out my interview with David Marriott from this label and Arbalos Films. A great dude, and will make you more excited about Canadian International Pictures, even if you needed more reason to be excited about what they're doing, which is always great releases, always interesting movies. Now this one I'm very, very curious about. This is the 50th anniversary special edition of The Hard Part Begins from 1973. And it says veteran country musician Jim King from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids, Donnelly Rhodes playing him, has spent decades honing his craft, but he has yet to find success behind the small-town touring circuit. With a prominent record label circling his current band, King and Country, Jim may be on the brink of a professional breakthrough, but the rest of his life is in disarray. From a suicidal son and a terminally ill friend to a rocky romance with his bandmate Jenny, Jim's life is hard, and it's only getting harder. The featured directorial debut of celebrated Canadian genre filmmaker Paul Lynch of Prom Night. The Hard Part Begins blends the vivid Canadiana of independent classic Going Down the Road with the unsentimental moral complexity of the new Hollywood staples like Five Easy Pieces, featuring a career-defining performance by Rhodes and a collection of unforgettable songs. This is a lost treasure that's finally getting the break it deserves. Now, I don't think I've talked about it yet as part of my Blu-ray, not on Blu-ray series, but one of my favorite movies from this period, actually from 1973, I want to say, is a movie called Payday. And Payday is a fantastic, sounds like a somewhat similar but different portrait of a country music singer played by Rip Torn. He's a character named Maury Dan, and he's also sort of touring the local circuits in the South, and so we see like sort of a day in the life of him. This is a guy that almost had a breakout hit, but didn't quite make it, and so is still kind of playing clubs and, hassling with club owners over money, hassling with DJs over getting his songs played, and is generally a not very likable dude. This guy sounds way more sympathetic, but regardless, I like the idea of a film about a country music artist, and you do get to see Maury Dan perform in Payday, but I mean, this sounds like a great double bill with Payday, and like I said, this is going to be, I think for me, I'm eyeing this as a potential, great discovery for me for 2023, and I'm always looking for new stuff like that, so I'm going to watch this one very, very soon. And as usual, Canadian International Pictures does a wonderful job with the entire package. So it's a newly scanned and restored in 4K from the original 16mm reversal. It was shot on 16 reversal, so it's going to have that really extra grainy, chunky look. And it's restored by them, Canadian International Pictures. Sound transferred from the original magnetic final mix. Audio commentary featuring director Paul Lynch and former TIFF senior programmer Steve Gravestock. Audio commentary featuring Paul Korup of Canucksploitation.com and film historian Jason Pachonsky. I'm a huge Paul Korup fan. If you haven't checked out Canucksploitation.com, you need to do that because he's got tons of great movie reviews and recommendations on that site, and it's just a generally fun dude. Follow him on Letterboxd too, by the way. So that's great. You got 2 commentary tracks. Then you have A Filmmaker Begins, a 26-minute new interview with Paul Lynch after The Hard Part after the hard part, which is a 14-minute Lynch reflecting on his body of work. So it's not just this film. Evolution of a Cinephile, a new 9-minute thing where Lynch discusses his passion for cinema. So if you didn't think the director of Prom Night was a cinephile, guess again, and you get to hear him talk about it. That's great. And then you have An Actor Begins, 22-minute new interview with actor David Daniels. And then the easy parts await, a 12-minute, let's see here, filmmaker, historian Daniel Creamer on the early career of Lynch. Then you have Reyes on Rhodes, 12-minute film historian, author Amanda Reyes on the career of actor Donnelly Rhodes. I love Amanda Reyes. That's going to be great. Interview with Donnelly Rhodes from 1989, only about 4 minutes, but we get the man himself there. And new audio interviews with actor, associate producer Hugh Curry, 17 minutes, and editor William Gray, 14 minutes. Alternate ending, a minute long. And Afterward, featuring Lynch and Gravestock, 9 minutes. Booklet featuring a new interview with actress Nancy Bell Fuller. She plays the love interest in the band in the movie. Yeah, this is going to be watched, I think, this weekend for me. Putting that one aside. So that is The Hard Part Begins from Canadian International Pictures, continuing to do great work. Next up we have from AGFA and Something Weird Video. It's always enjoyable to see the new AGFA release every month. They continue to do wonderful work, bringing out strange cinema, things I've never heard of. When they get together with Something Weird, it's always a match made in heaven. The Defilers, A Smell of Honey and a Swallow of Brine. Two Ruffy shockers from David F. Friedman. That's what we're talking about this month. The Defilers is from 1965. A Smell of Honey, a Swallow of Brine is from 1966. Both are black and white films in the 70-minute range, both 69-minute long films. I like short films like this. So Friedman directed the Defilers. It looks like Byron Mabe is listed in the director as the second one. The Defilers, it says everything they touch is stained. The Defilers are Carl, future filmmaker Byron Mabe, who of course does the next movie, and Jameson, a pair of sadistic beatniks who spice up their boring lives by imprisoning an innocent young woman, 20-year-old Scandinavian screen find Mia Jansen, in the basement of an abandoned building. A quintessential roughie, The Defilers is a stylishly squirm-inducing shocker from exploitation film legends David F. Friedman, who was responsible for things like She Freak, which has also come out from AGFA, a great Blu-ray, and R. Lee Frost, The House on Bear Mountain, B-A-R-E Mountain. And then Smell of Honey, Swallow of Brine. She turned men on, they turned them off, and turned them inside out. She's a Smell of Honey, a Swallow of Brine. Stacey Walker, the notorious daughter of Fanny Hill, apparently she was in, stars as Sharon Winters, the ultimate tease who gets her kicks by picking guys up and then screaming for help. As she leaves a trail of broken men in her wake, will she ever meet her match? ? Written and produced by David F. Friedman, so he wrote and produced it, and directed by Defilers star Byron Mabe. This is as Friedman's original ad campaign proclaimed, an adult experience. So Defilers restored from 35mm dupe camera negative. Archival commentary with Something Weird founder Mike Vraney, R.I.P. Very cool to get him on a commentary for that movie. Love to hear his thoughts. And David Friedman. So they're both on that track. That's wonderful. A Smell of Honey, a Swallow of Brine, preserved from one of the only known 35 prints in existence. Archival commentary with Mike Vraney and filmmaker Frank Henenlotter. So two great commentaries here included on this one. And David F. Friedman as well in that track. That's wonderful. And a short, But Charlie, I Never Played Volleyball, David F. Friedman trailers. So a great, and a booklet with writing by Something Weird's Lisa Petrucci. Great stuff. Another really, not comprehensive, but it's giving you a bunch of stuff from a single filmmaker producer and giving you the sense of the cinema that this guy made. So David F. Friedman fans and those that don't know him, the Defilers from AGFA. Okay, next up we have, this one looks fascinating. Visitors from the Arcana Galaxy. Now, this is from Deaf Crocodile, another one of my favorite of the partner labels. And it says this one, Visitors from the Arcana Galaxy, 1981, directed by Dusan Vukotic. Imagine if Troma Films had been hired to make a Sid and Marty Krofft Saturday morning kids show, and you have some idea of the unspeakable strangeness of the Visitors from Arcana Galaxy. A truly gonzo Croatian sci-fi fantasy film about a struggling writer, Robert, who dreams up a story of gold-skinned alien androids named Andra, Targo, and Ulu from a distant planet. Incredibly, his fictional alien creations become reality, causing chaos in his relationship with his girlfriend, Biba, and threatening his small seaside village. The alluring lead robot, Andra, looks like H.R. Giger redesigned the Maschenmensch from Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Watch for the scene where she pours hot coffee and cream out of her fingertips. But for sheer jaw-dropping insanity, nothing rivals the Moo Moo monster created for the film by legendary Czech animator Jan Švankmajer. That's very cool. Another reason to watch this movie. A rubber-suited multi-tentacle creation that destroys a wedding party, ripping off heads and spouting plumes of toxic green smoke while a blind accordion player blithely plays his squeeze box. Visitors was a rare live-action feature for animator Dusan Vukotic, best known for his stunning UPA-style cartoon shorts, including Cow on the Moon from 1959 and the Oscar-winning The Substitute from 1961. This long unavailable genre treat has been newly restored by Deaf Crocodile and Zagreb Films for its first-ever Blu-ray release. I'm in. This sounds so strange and so interesting. And just looking at the pictures on the back, you really do get a sense of how bizarre this film must be. But sounds right up my alley. New scan of Visitors from the Arcana Galaxy with restoration by Craig Rogers of Deaf Crocodile. Hats off to Craig, always does a lovely job with his restorations. New commentary by film historian Sam Deegan. Speak of the Devil, I was just talking about her. Great to have her on this. I love that she's getting so much work, by the way. That's just fantastic to me. New essay by film historian and professor Jennifer Lynn Barker. 5 rare animated shorts by Dusan Vukotic. It includes Cow on the Moon, a 10-minute. Vukovic's delightfully jazzy beatnik-influenced cartoon, an adorable young girl creates a rocket ship to annoy a hipster teenage boy. Piccolo, 1959, 9-minute short. 2 neighbors wage a war over a noisy harmonica in Vukotic's animated short featuring stunning mid-century artwork and design. 1001 Drawings, 1960, 14-minute short. A fascinating black and white short mixing live action and animation to reveal how cartoons are drawn in Croatian with English subtitles. And Surrogat, The Substitute, 1961, a typical everyman spends a day at the beach where everything is inflatable, and from his tent to the barbecue grill to a toothy shark. Vukotic's Oscar-winning short is a masterpiece of angular mid-century style. And Ars Gracia Artis, 1969, 9-minute. In Vukotic's surreal blend of animation and live action, a man eats a vinyl record, razor blades, thumbtacks, and more. Fascinating, I'm telling you. A Blu-ray authoring by David Mackenzie of Fidelity in Motion. This is a Region A lock disc. I don't know about that, but I know that the AGFA disc is all region. But wow, this sounds like something I got to check out. You just look at that cover and you just know that you're in for something real special and unique. So another sounding like a winner from Deaf Crocodile. Really cool stuff. Moving on to yet another favorite of mine in terms of the partner labels is Dekanalog. Another enjoyable interview that I highly recommend you check out is the one I did with friend of the show, Elijah Drenner, who is one of the co-founders of Dekanalog, and he had some great things to say just about how they go about choosing the movies they put out. Now, this one is called Fugue, and it is from 2018. So they do a lot more recent stuff, which I like because it's always recent stuff I've never heard of. And I've definitely not heard of Fugue. So, after a 2-year disappearance, free-spirited Alicia is reunited with her parents, husband, and young son, despite having no memory of them. Suddenly thrust back into a domestic life she has no recollection of choosing, Alicia struggles to reconcile her new and unfamiliar roles of dependability with the unshackled independence sprung by her recent mental break. With surreal, icy imagery and a seductively hypnotic atmosphere, director Agnieszka Samotka's she directed The Lure. That's a movie that Elric really likes. I think it's like a horror mermaid movie, if I recall. Sophomore feature burrows into the landscape of Alicia's mind, excavating the societal burdens and duties expected of women and whether personal freedom is truly attainable. Fugue evokes the social taboos around motherhood and the pressure on young women to accept maternity without hesitation or reflection, as though the biological capacity of giving birth means that every woman should be willing to be a mother. A dizzying psychological puzzle of identity and self-discovery, mesmerizing from the jaw-dropping first frame to the last. Wow. Let's see, I think it's in Polish with English subtitles, I want to say. But there's an interview with the filmmaker, Q&A at Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn, New York, and a booklet essay by Sam Deegan. Yet again, love it. And this sounds just fascinating to me. An interesting compliment to visitors from Arcana Galaxy in that it's, surreal, but obviously a very different movie from that. But yeah, Fugue. Very, very curious to check this one out from Dekanalog. Definitely keep an eye on everything they're doing. Every month I'm always checking if they've announced the title and what it is, because it's, always something interesting. They really dig deep and, find some good stuff. So Fugue is the new one from Dekanalog. And then just a few more we have from Saturn's Core. Night Chills. That's KNIGHT Chills. And this one sounds really interesting to me. Of course, Saturn's Core does the mostly shot on video, I think almost all shot on video releases. That's their focus, but they always are finding new and interesting films I've never heard of. Shot on video, not necessarily my favorite genre per se, or type of film per se, but they have really pulled out some stuff that sounds interesting for sure. Burglar from Hell, still one of my favorite things I've seen in a while. Definitely check that one out. It says, avid role player John is a loner and an outcast. Even with the insular world of his weekly convening tabletop RPG club, he is both bullied and ostracized. The outspoken crush he harbors for Brooke, one of his fellow players, remains bitterly unrequited. Daunted by frequent humiliations and Brooke's continuous rejections, John commits suicide in a fiery car wreck. Unfortunately for the game master and the members of the gaming circle, fantasy soon becomes a deadly reality as John mysteriously returns for revenge on a horseback in the form of his former gaming alter ego, the vengeful knight Sir Callio. The members of the club who previously taunted John are slaughtered one by one as the ghostly knight leaves behind a bloody trail of carnage, as well as an ominous red rose at the site of each murder. One of the few slasher movies focused around the world of tabletop role-playing games and highly publicized moral panic that surrounded the enthusiasts throughout the 80s and 90s, Night Chills is equally notable as one of the few pre-digital SOV horror features to be helmed by a woman, directed by Catherine Hicks, and featuring performances by DJ Perry, Michael Renee Walton, and Rebecca Holden. The Michigan Lens Night Chills remains essential viewing for slasher film completists, role-playing game and adventurers, and devotees of regional shot-on-video curiosities alike. Saturn's Core is proud to present the first-ever Blu-ray release of Night Chills, newly scanned and restored from the original SVHS Masters tapes, and accompanied by a treasure hoard of new and archival special features. Hats off to Saturn's Core for always doing a nice job with their extras. But this one sounds pretty fascinating to me. I love the idea of a slasher, gaming RPG crossover. The closest I can think of is like Mazes and Monsters, which isn't quite a slasher movie, but has Tom Hanks in it. So anyway, new transfer from the Betacam SP master tapes, audio commentary with actor, writer, producer J.J. Perry, writer, producer Jeff Kennedy, and writer Juanita Kennedy. Night Chills of Satanic Panic and Red Roses, a visual essay by film historian and author Alexandra Heller Nicholas, another big favorite of mine. Running the campaign, an interview with actor, co-writer, and producer J.J. Perry. Finding Sir Calio, recollections of Night Chills, a new featurette featuring actors Michael Renee Walton and Stuart McDonald. Archival Dungeon Tour, hosted by writer-producer Jeff Kennedy. Local TV news coverage. I love that stuff, by the way. When you get local TV news coverage of a regional shot-on-video movie. That's always fascinating. Let's see here. Night Chills special effects, archival behind-the-scenes featurette. Building of a Bad Guy, archival behind-the-scenes featurettes. Cast and crew at work and play, archival behind-the-scenes featurette. And Night Chills 2, archival camera test, as well as photo gallery reversible sleeve. This is an all-region disc. So Night Chills, definitely on my list to watch. I'm very curious about that one. And then we have from Enjoy the Ride, ETR Media, a new one called Slopes Game Room, or I guess it's Sega The Complete History, Volume 1. And this is cool because it's apparently the compiles together 10 of the best documentaries based on Sega's most iconic franchises to date, originally created on the YouTube channel Slopes Game Room. These 10 short films showcase the creation of arcade classics such as Daytona USA, Outrun, Super Hang-On, House of the Dead, Afterburner, and Space Harrier. Alongside these are nostalgic home console franchises such as Streets of Rage and Altered Beasts. Then, of course, you have the obscurities such as Congo Bongo and Seaman, and why not? With over 30 million views on YouTube, Slopes Game Room's documentaries have been studied and referenced for the creation of future games in their respective IPs, and for the first time ever, now released on Blu-ray with updated visuals and editing. With guest voice commentaries and over 2 hours worth of bonus features, hidden Easter eggs, Sega The Complete History Volume 1 is a must-see for all gaming historians. A nice compliment to a different kind of gaming movie that we just talked about. I'm a big Congo Bongo fan, by the way. I don't know if you all have ever seen that. Kind of a Donkey Kong knockoff in the jungle that I always would flock to when I would go to game rooms when I was a kid. So very curious to see that one. Okay, so that sounds great. I'm totally on board with this and very curious about it. I was a big Sega player in my youth and did enjoy some of the games mentioned here. So bonus features include introduction for each complete history, the Sega game they don't want you to buy, 4 terrible and forgotten Sega comics, Sonic's Team Forgotten Love Simulator, Sega and Bandai, Sega's Forgotten Roller Coaster, and Streets of Rage, The Complete History. And the guest commentaries include on the House of the Dead, Oliver Harper, on Super Hang-On, Kim Justice, Streets of Rage, Ashens, Space Harrier, Quang from Asobi Tech, Seaman, Jimmy Happa, Importing Game, FTW, Outrun, Nostalgia Nerd, Mike, Daytona USA, Mike Tucker from Bitmap Bureau, Congo Bongo, Blast Processing, and Altered Beast, King Monkey, Afterburner, Mr. Thunderwing. It says some of these have been re-edited for this release, re-edited visuals and audio for this release. I don't know exactly what that means, but nonetheless, sounds really fascinating, and another cool one from Enjoy the Ride. They're doing some really neat stuff in that sort of documentary space. Good stuff there. And lastly, we have something from Circle Collective. Really nice slipcase there. What Doesn't Float is this film. And this is from 2023. It's a brand new movie. An equally awesome cover art for it. 7 stories, 1 city, a disparate group of characters fill out this darkly comedic anthology of New Yorkers at their wits' end. When the dailiness of urban life is suspended by an unforeseen conflict, each character must make a decision. While the outcomes vary, a unified sense of city emerges. New York becomes a mirror to the ego, reflecting our true character, while the rest sinks to the bottom. This is directed by Luca Balser. And there is an audio commentary with director Luca Balser, actor-producer Pauline Chalamet, and producer Rachel Walden. Behind-the-scenes images, as well as film score. Sounds fascinating to me. It looks like a lower-budget film, but something I had never heard of, and that's part of the reason these partner labels are so enjoyable, is all the discoveries you can make for films both new and old. And Circle Collective has done a lot of great work as well. These are all really solid partner labels, and that's one of the reasons it's hard to keep up with these guys, which is part of the reason I do these little updates, just to give you an idea of what's come out, because there's so much, and just getting a sense of what these films are and what's included with them, really helps you inform your buying decisions, I hope. Maybe it's not right now, maybe it's for the sales, but regardless, I think it's good to keep track of all this stuff. So anyway, that will do it for this round of partner labels from OCN and Vinegar Syndrome. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.